It's time to talk Alabama football with the head coach of the Crimson Tide, Nick Saban, who's back on the show with us. Coach, thanks for being back with us. Before we talk Alabama football, A-Day coming up this weekend and all the excitement, much publicized picture of you at Augusta National this past weekend. How much fun was it to watch JT and the golfers try to tackle that day over on the golf course?
Well, it was always a fun day. You know, that's a unique place with great tradition. I know this tournament means a lot to a lot of players. I know what it means to JT to have an opportunity to compete in the major. So just interesting to sort of watch him develop from being a high school player that we were involved in recruiting all the way through his career here, and now he's evolved as a pro player. So don't get many opportunities to see him, so it was really good to see all those guys. It's amazing how they can hit it.
Yeah, it's a course you've played. Do you have a favorite hole on that course as you've played it or watch it?
Oh, they're all great. I enjoy playing it. That's probably my favorite place in the world to play. It's a beautiful course and very, very difficult, very challenging, especially the green structures. Or you got to have great touch, which is not something I'm sort of for.
Hey, as we get a look at your office right now, what's the most interesting thing in there? If there's one conversation piece that you had to point out in your office, what would it be?
Boy, I hadn't really thought about it, but there's a lot of junk in here So if you ask Linda that question, she would probably say, get rid of the junk.
We're getting ready for A-Day over at Bryant-Denny Stadium, an exciting time for Alabama fans to get back on campus, alumni and such. For you, with spring winding down, let's start with quarterback and Bryce Young. He's unknown. We saw what he could do last year as a leader of this football team. Let's talk about some other guys in the quarterback room. What have you seen from them this spring?
I think they've all improved. I think Jalen Milroe has improved. Ty Simpson is a freshman who is, an early enrollee, so he's here for the spring, and he's a bright guy and has, some ability. But for us offensively, it's been a little bit of a work in progress. I think we had 5 starters back from last year after when 4 guys went out for the draft. But we had 3 of those starters that weren't participating in spring ball due to previous injuries. So we had a lot of young players get a lot of opportunity, and that was a good thing. I think it's going to be great for their development. It was always not ideal situation in terms of getting the kind of execution that you wanted in the spring with having that many inexperienced players involved. But Bryce did a great job in his leadership, and so has the other quarterbacks. And we're just going to have to, continue to grow and develop as an offensive team.
Alabama coach Nick Saban with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Occasionally on this show, we play video of one of your great defenders, Will Anderson, at the podium. And I love every answer of his because he is so intense and he loves the game of football. Everybody approaches the game differently, Coach, but have you found that Will Anderson approaches the game closer to most coaches than most players do?
Well, I think he's a unique competitor in that, he loves the game. He wants to be the best player that he can be. He's got a lot of pride in his performance. He gives tremendous effort. He sets a great example for the other players on the team from a leadership standpoint on and off the field. So when you have a player that you actually have to sort of talk off the cliff when he doesn't feel like he can go out there and be 100% and really do things the way he wants, I think that's pretty unique in this day and age because he wants to be the best that he can be every day in practice, every day in the game. He does a great job of preparing. He's got great character, as a person. So I can't say enough good things about the guy.
I think people are really interested in your wide receivers this year. And even going back to last year, outside of Mechie, there was a lot of unknowns. And then Jamison Williams arguably was the best wide receiver in college football. When you guys brought in Jamison, did you have any idea he was going to be that good?
We really liked him. we looked at several guys because we felt like we needed to get a wide receiver to complement the players that we had. We liked him the best of anybody. Now, we had just played him, in the national championship game, so we had a little familiarity with him. But then when we watched him throughout the course of the season, we saw a guy playing on special teams. We saw a guy competing with a lot of dog in him, as, people say. We saw great speed, but we didn't see a whole lot of production, which was, really the only concern we had. And when we put him in a position where he could compete and could have a lot of production, he certainly responded in a A+ way.
Having Bill O'Brien back with Bryce Young, can you see the camaraderie and the familiarity there sort of helping them progress a little faster this spring when you start a new season?
Yeah, I think the big thing is to have that continuity and not have a change of personality, because we really don't change systems. But I think, Bill has, grown into understanding, college football a little more, throughout the course of the season last year, even more in this off season when we did, quality control on all the things that we had done the previous season. So I think that evolution has been very positive. And I think that that's only going to enhance, Bryce's opportunities to make plays.
Coach Nick Saban is with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. The Alabama A-Day game is Saturday. You can see it on SEC Network Plus. You can go support Alabama, of course, there at Bryant-Denny Stadium. You visited the transfer portal again with Jahmyr Gibbs, and I know it's just media and it's just people talking, but all that comes out of there, and you've sung his praises as well. What does Jahmyr Gibbs bring to this team?
He's a very good player. He's a good all-around player. He's a good receiver. I think what he does really, really well is, he presses holes, sets up blocks, and he's got the speed and burst, once he makes a decision about where he's going to go to, get the top speed quickly, which is always a tremendous asset for any skilled guy on offense. So he's a very bright guy. He's a hard worker. So he's been, a real positive asset for us in terms of, and he's got a lot of reps because we have two guys that got ACLs last year that, they practiced and did drills this spring, but, they never ever scrimmaged. So he got a lot of opportunities because of our circumstance as well.
Are you guys still playing pickup basketball as a staff? And if so, if you have the first pick, who are you selecting?
Well, we're not playing. That's one of the things when I got my hip replaced a couple of years ago. They said, you really don't want to fall on your backside because that might. And they said this noontime basketball thing may not be the best thing for you. So I kind of retired, but I have actually thought seriously about. I think it's time to get back to it.
Yeah,
I like it.
I like that. I know your schedule's full every day. What are we keeping you from doing right now? Was it lunch, film study? Well, what were you doing when you walked out of the room and walked right back into the room?
Well, today's a practice day for us, but because we try to practice every other day in the spring, we're able to review the film of the previous practice, Tuesday's practice on Wednesday. So today we can really focus on, what we want to do. And toward the end of the spring, we try to implement some things that we haven't seen from our offense or our offense hasn't seen from our defense. So we do a little opponent study of, what may be some things that we could work on. So that's what we spent most of the morning on. Obviously, there's some organization for A-Day when you split the squad up and things like that. We always have an academic meeting at 11 o'clock on Thursday, so we did that. We got some recruits visiting practice today, so I'll visit with them, shortly after I get finished here. And then 2 o'clock, the players come in and we start meeting and get ready for our, last practice of the spring.
Well, something, Coach, it's Rockstar. How are you doing? Something I'm sure you'd be pumped about. What if they announced that they're going to do a Coach Saban biopic? And it's not going to be released, but you have all the decisions to make. What's the most difficult decision, casting yourself or casting Miss Terry, and who would you cast?
What's interesting to me about what you guys do here is you ask hypothetical questions.
Every time.
I'm trying to get funding.
We try to tell him every time. You don't like them.
There's a hypothetical question that value in me giving an answer to, other than me getting in trouble somewhere along the line, probably with the. So I don't want to go there, but anyway.
Oh man.
Problems that you could ask about without making it something that's hypothetical.
All right, you're gonna be better next time, Rockstar.
Yes.
All right,
All right.
give me a year.
Yeah, Coach.
One more year.
One more year. You'll do it better next time. Coach, thank you for the time as always. We greatly appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Have a good day.
All right, you too. Take care. That is Alabama coach Nick Saban with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Alabama's A-Day is coming up Saturday, Bryant-Denny Stadium, the Golden Flake A-Day game, 2 o'clock Central Time.